What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we do our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors, entrepreneurs alike, and the cryptocurrency world because crypto is the biggest opportunity over the next year or so, in our opinions, and it's not even close. So, welcome along on the journey. Corey, take it away.
Yeah, why don't you take it away? Go ahead and say hi. You were talking earlier, guys. Yes, so we are using cryptocurrencies as a wealth creation tool and using real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And we're truly blessed to be on today and come from you from Puerto Rico, where we're changing the trajectory of our families' lives and hopefully take some friends with us. And that's what our community is all about. We are just trying hard to cut through the narratives, give you guys the information the way we see it. Not that we see anything right either. I mean, we can see things the wrong way. This is not financial advice. Go buy bonds, go buy stocks, talk to a financial advisor. But we're having an absolute blast, even though this has been pretty toxic as far as sentiment, as far as Twitter goes, just far as like in general. And yeah, man, I don't know if there was I know I've been saying it. If there was a bottom. Oh, now you're talking. Okay. So yeah, man, it's very interesting. And we see, certain meme coins like PDI making all-time highs, newer highs. I mean, it's very interesting. We have, another meme coin that launched last night by, I think it was a Static X or Standard X. It was the Randy Hilarski well friend. Somebody had put in like $100 at the first launch. It was worth like 300 grand. I saw it was crazy. Somebody caught it just right. And I mean, I put a little bit in last night. I got a double out of it. Took my initial back. Solid X. Thanks, Kaiser. There we go. Solid X. And yeah, I put a little bit of money in it. And he's been known to do Rage Pump Axis's coin. He's been known to Rage Pump Randy Hilarski's Nope token coin. And so, like, why wouldn't he Rage Pump his own? So I got a bullet in there now. I got it for free. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't mind playing these games once again with 10% of my bag or even less. Like the Solid X, I got a free ride because I sold it on a double. And so I kept the double, kept it, got my initial back, and then, yeah, I got a moon bag. And so, yeah, it's interesting times, leading up until April 11th. I don't know if April 11th will be the big day that we all think it will be. I think it'll probably be a nothing burger like you had said yesterday, Dane. But what's interesting? I see Kaiser on here. So yesterday we were talking about how Pulse and Pulse X are not under scrutiny from the SEC, or shouldn't be, because they were never sold on Uniswap, right? What's another interesting thing? Technically, neither was PHEX. You could argue and say that was only EHEX that was sold on Uniswap.
Oh, that's interesting.
Somebody pointed that out after Kaiser posted a clip. And thank you. Shout out to you, Kaiser, as always, man. We appreciate you cutting up the good nuggets and throwing it up on Twitter for us, bringing some eyeballs to our show, which is awesome. But, man, that's an interesting, one could argue saying, hey, PHEX, Pulse, and PulseX were never sold on Uniswap. You don't have any claim or jurisdiction over these. If you want to go ahead and sanction EHEX and say it's a security, fine, whatever, let's go ahead and fight over that. At that point, I don't even think RH would care anymore. It's like, whatever. Like, he probably would fight it just in he doesn't want to be silenced by the SEC. But, yeah, it's interesting, man. I didn't think of that yesterday.
Yeah. And so many people, I mean, it's interesting to be in this part of the market cycle, and I see how people can shoot themselves in the foot. It can feel like you're getting left behind all over the place, especially if you haven't diversified much and your things that you've bought aren't moving. And so I think it's a good opportunity. We've talked about this a bunch on the show, to take a step back, reevaluate how your portfolio is built. If your thoughts have changed at all about how you would like to build it, you could consider looking at adjusting moving forward. But man, it's nice to have some diversification here so that some of our stuff is moving and we can have some upside. So it's it's interesting just to learn. And that's one of the things I feel like most people aren't doing is they're holding on to dear life to
Hold
the
on.
same things that they just can't, they can't leave they can't change their sentiment and update their worldview when the things that they bought aren't doing what they hoped they would do, and they hold on to that for dear life rather than learning from what's going on in the market and adjusting to whatever you feel like is actually occurring. And so that's what we're focused on, just learning from what the market's giving us and taking those opportunities.
Dang, you talk like you own PDI.
I've got some bullets. I wish I'd have bought more. You know what I mean?
Oh, me, I don't own any PDI. I literally own 0 PDI, and I wish I would have had put some bullets in the early days. I do. I don't believe. I really don't believe it will. It won't believe. I believe it won't peg to $1, but man, the market could sure pump it up to that. It won't stay there, but the market could sure pump it, man. I mean, they could keep buying that thing up until it gets there, and then after that, we'll see what happens. But it's interesting how that thing is mooning while everything else is tanking, along with some other meme coins. It's just really, really interesting to see. It's fun.
It is. It's fascinating to watch. And I've got. Let me see. This should be the. You tell me if this is the best chart, Corey. Let's share my screen.
While you're doing that, guys, if you're watching on Twitter, come and smash the likes and subscribe over on YouTube, so that way you can help us boost the algorithm, and so we can get the good word out to as many people as possible.
I'm pretty sure this is the right chart, right? With $1.1 million in liquidity.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So yeah, look at that. New all-time high is this wick, just barely.
Yeah. What happens when you measure against pulse? This would be interesting.
I mean, this first run was enormous.
Enormous.
Then it's got a nice little leg up here.
I feel like that first run there, Dane, was probably like during the SEC FUD. And so Pulse was really depressed, and it's probably why it ran so hard against Pulse.
Sure.
So yeah, it's funny how these things, they when the blue chips are having a bad time, all the meme coins are having a good time. And then when the blue chips are having a good time, the meme coins kind of get smashed. And they kind of it seems like they cycle back and forth.
Yeah, I agree. That totally seems to be the case. It's nice that, I mean, I'm telling you, for me, it feels really nice to have some of both. So you often feel like you're winning in some portion of your portfolio.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, that's a healthy chart, man. I don't see that going anywhere. Not anytime soon. Yeah.
Agreed. What's the ink chart doing today?
Going down.
I think it's been down, yeah.
Yeah, it hit that level yesterday, and it's been bouncing around in that area probably for a little bit. Well, now look at that. Of course, that's the daily.
Yeah, we're on the daily here. Let's see. Oh, look at that. It broke down below this liquidity range here, so there could be pretty significant downside clear down to this.
Right in there. Here. Yep.
Let's see.
Next range is $3.70.
If we measure, let's say we get down to here, that's a 27% dip. 27 to, 60% dip if it gets down to these ranges down here.
Oh, man. I mean, in the $2 to $3 range, I'm backing the truck up.
Agreed. 100%. I would take a nice little nibble there.
I know where I'd grab some liquidity from too if that happened. It would make some people mad.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, one of my assets that acts like a stable coin.
Seriously,
that's where that would go.
Yeah. Is Corey saying PDI and Atropa is decorrelated to the RH tickers?
It seems that way. I mean, I'm not saying it. It just seems that way. This is never financial advice, man. I don't know. It could always reverse at any time. It's crypto, but yeah. Not just so much PDI and Atropa, just in like meme coins in general. I mean, we've seen Teddy Bear do it. I don't think Teddy Bear is really pumping that hard right now. Actually, I haven't looked at it today, but like we've seen, we have seen it do it. Teddy Bear was rage pumping during the SEC FUD. It was like the meme coin of meme coin. Of course, B Roots was shilling the crap out of it, but it was doing its thing. And like I said, we have the new Solid X coin that launched yesterday that's doing really well. And so, people are putting liquidity into the new shiny object at the time, at this, why everything else is getting crushed. It's like, that's what it is, man. People love to sell red candles and love to buy green. And so since that the blue chips are red, they're selling them to go chase the new shiny object like Solid X, which is up like 500,000% or something stupid, and they're putting the money in there. And and I mean, they might get some gains out of it, they might not, but it's a dangerous game for sure. It's definitely a dangerous game, especially when you keep doing it.
Agreed. Yep, agreed. That's a good question. So Jazz asks what the best farming pair with low risk is. I'm assuming you're talking about Pultsuck. Let's go ahead and we can have a look over there. All right. So here we are looking at the Pultsuck farms. Let me zoom out a little bit so it's easier to see. All right. So you've got your farms in here. The long and the short of your answer is none of this is safe. Literally none of it. None of this is safe. You are exposed to enormous impermanent loss. And so, I would recommend that if you haven't done much liquidity providing, do it just a little bit of money so you can get to see what this actually is like. And here's how you're going to track it. Take, whatever the pair you move into. And in order to try to mitigate risk, you want to get into a pair where they're more likely to move together. So for instance, if the one goes up 10%, you want the other one to go up 10%. If the one goes down 20%, you want them both to go down 20%. You want them to move in relation to one another. The tricky thing is that in a vacuum, it's nice to talk about, but in real life, they just don't. Nothing moves like that. And so you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, what gives me a decent APR while also hopefully moving together? Well, you can go look at the charts and do your own due diligence. If I were to guess and I were to look at any of this stuff, I mean, Ink and Pulse X are probably the two that
That's
are
what I used
moving
to think, Dane.
most closely together. But even them,
I got
even then
crushed.
you're not. Yeah, that's the thing is even then, like you're not in great shape. None of this stuff that's paired here together moves together, in my opinion, very well. Would you disagree, Corey?
Yeah, no, I got crushed on the Ink and Pulse X. I used to think like that, like, oh, they should move together. They're like the most speculative two coins in the whole ecosystem. And on Pulse X you earn Ink, and so it's like I thought they would move together, but nah. I suffered some pretty bad and permanent loss when Ink was rage pumping, and that's the thing is Ink rage pumps so hard in comparison to everything else. Is like, I guess you could provide liquidity on the downside when everything's kind of but like you got to time it. Like, put the liquidity in when everything's going down, and that way you're earning some ink. And then as soon as the sentiment changes, pull that liquidity out. If you're able to time it like that, you might do okay. But man, yeah, that ink, yeah, Fast Abdul, yeah, it's a wild card, man. Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, Pulse X and Pulse is probably the safest, but even still, we saw Pulse X absolutely run circles around Pulse on this last push up.
Right.
Like, that would scare me too. Like,
none of this feels real comfortable. So
not to me.
here are the scenarios under which I would consider providing liquidity at this point in the market. If I had huge bags and I wasn't going to be able to reasonably get out of them, then by all means, I'd come and provide truckloads of liquidity here. I'd make some yield. I'd sell my ink, and it'd be great. That's one scenario. If you don't have huge bags, when I'm saying big, I'm thinking like multiple seven figures minimum, then frankly, I'd just stay out of it. I don't think the impermanent loss risk in any of this is worth the rewards. And most of my liquidity providing experience has shown me that time and time again.
Yeah.
So, you go make your own decisions. If you haven't done this, I think it's a really valuable education to put a little bit in here. Like, go put in $100 or a few $100. Let it ride for 7 to 30 days and calculate it. Calculate how many tokens you put in when you started the pair and what they were worth, and then go and calculate it in 7 days and in 30 days and see how many tokens you have of each and then what they're worth at that point. And if your ink rewards have overcome the losses that you're going to experience, because you're going to experience impermanent loss, it keeps me from sleeping at night. So I don't have any money in here right now. I don't have anything in the farms.
I agree. I mean, Fast Abdul says, yeah, as long as you don't pull out any loss is impermanent. The problem is, man, is like, how long are you willing to wait? Like Dane said, if you have multiple millions of dollars and you can just throw away a few $100,000 in there and not worry about it for an entire market cycle, like literally an entire market cycle, then maybe you're right, Fast Abdul. But like, I'm not willing to do that. Like, I'm
Don't
planning
bet.
on selling. Like, I want
Yeah.
to sell this market cycle and exit my position. And if ink ends up being the main runner for the entire cycle, which it probably won't, but like, what if it does? We just don't know, and there's no crystal ball. And so like, you could absolutely just get crushed if yeah, that's my opinion on it.
Agreed. Yeah, this is a good opinion by Super Snake. Sitting on a shark position in Pulse X Pulse and Ink Pulse X farms, I can tell you if you aren't invested for the long term, stay away from LP. Absolutely. Because it's going to be painful in the times where you're way off sides. If you're doing the math, you're getting raked over the coals. Absolutely raked over the coals. And you're hoping that that ratio comes back, and there's no guarantees that it does. And so, yeah, I like it. I
Yeah,
like
you
it.
have to wait for it to round trip if it does right. You might end up waiting a whole market cycle for that round trip, and
Yep.
that's just something I'm not willing to do. Yeah, just
No,
buy ink and sit on it. That's that Super Snake. That's what I've
that's what
been
I've been
doing.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was able to mint a lot of it though. I was providing liquidity during the bear market or our SEC bear market, and I was able to create quite a bit from that, which was nice. Then yeah, but recently I'm just buying it. Yeah, and, if we go back down to those levels that Dane was just showing us, I'll be back in the truck up again for those levels. But other than that, yeah, it's I've got myself a bag. I'm sitting on that bag. I'm happy with my bag now. I do want more, but I'm happy with my bag. And yeah, we'll see what happens. And at this point, I'm buying it. And I got some farms over in the Fux protocol, and those are like I had created these little tiny throwaway farms in there. I've got like 10 of them, and those I'll just let cook. In fact, I'll move them when Fast Abdul gets 2 fucks out. Come on, bro, let's get it out. Let's get it going. I'll move all those farms over so I can get the higher yield on those throwaway farms. And as far as the fucks token, man, I just sell it when I receive it. I don't, that price chart looks like death. And I hope it turns around, but it's just not doing anything.
Yeah. Agreed.
And there's a lot
Agreed.
of unlocks coming up on the Flux token too within the next few months. There's going to be really large unlocks coming out. And so that price chart could be a little bit unstable for a while. So be careful with the Flux price chart. That's why I'm selling it when I'm receiving it in yield.
Yeah.
Could be a
Yeah.
buying
No,
opportunity though when the unlocks come. If you want to buy some and you think has a long-term growth potential, maybe. I just don't
yeah.
think any incentive tokens have long-term growth potential unless it's the ink token. And that's only because it's an RH asset and people respect it and they want to own it because it's such a low market cap and it's so like there's so much narratives revolving around it. Like,
Let's go. Fast Duel says 45 days. That'll
let's
be great.
go, bro. All right. I'm excited for it, man. In fact, no financial advice, of course, but I did myself. I did put a little bit of money into the SAC as I was making the Fux rewards over in the Fux protocol, Dane, every week I would take my rewards and I would dump them into the 2 Fux sack. So I'll have some of whatever Faster Duels got. I'll have some, and hopefully we can talk some bribes, and
That's right.
it'll be fun.
I like it. I like it. It'll be fun to see. Yeah, this is a good question. Yeah, what's going on with BankX? Oh man, those guys, it's just like in my mind, it's one of those things. I'm really curious to know what the OTC deals were for the EHEX before Richard went and fudded it, because I feel like they should have taken one of those deals.
Oh man, now they regret it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's how it goes. Now they regret it, man. Yeah, man. All they did was they had their liquidity on Uniswap. They just moved it over to 9-inch because they know that's where most people are buying and selling at is on Pulse Chain, and so they wanted to move their liquidity over there so they can get their order executed when the buy and selling happens. Obviously, buying because they have a sell wall, and so that's all that is. I mean, look, in my opinion, they're doing responsible market making with that bag. Yeah, is it gonna be hard to chew through that? It's gonna take a lot of money, sure, but you know where it's at. It's at 0.007. We know that's where the liquidity's hit at. So like, EHEX could bounce around all it wants in the low liquidity ranges down there, and you could play like a meme coin game with it. When it gets into that range, you probably know, oh, maybe now it's time to sell my EHEX bag because I'm in that sell wall. And we know what they're doing with it. I mean, if I had a big bag, I'd probably be doing the same thing. I mean, I would have took I probably would have took the OTC deal, but yeah, I'm trying to think what would you do with it? I mean, you can't market dump it, Dane. You can't
No, there's not
market
enough
dump it.
liquidity.
You'll lose all your money. You'll lose all your money out of it. What else are you going to do with it? You could try to make another OTC deal. I would be doing that. I'd be coming on Twitter like, look, guys, let's go ahead and talk that deal now. I know I'm not going to get what I had before because the value's not there, but let's talk bribes, like Fast Abdul says. Okay, let's talk bribes. What can you guys bring me to show me some interest? That way I get rid of this bag. They want to get rid of the bag. They want or need the money. I guarantee it.
Right. I think most people would prefer to be out of their EHEX into just about anything else in the Richard Hart ecosystem,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I like Fast Abdul's Inks utility is the billionaire guy buys it sometimes.
Seriously. But it's nice, like the ink utility. I mean, it's interesting because people like to speculate about it, like what could Richard use it for if he does a wallet, Yeah. So I don't know if he does anything. I don't know if he does a wallet, but I like the speculation that people utilize. Like, it's interesting enough that people want to come in and buy it. And also, like, it's kind of it is the lifeblood of the farms. If you can make that thing more valuable, then you can incentivize people to come into the farms because the APRs go up. That thickens liquidity. Mm-hmm. So like, here's the game that I would be playing. And I am no genius market maker, but the times when liquidity, and Richard talked about this, we talked about it on our stream yesterday. If you want price to really go, if you want the price charts to be green, then you want less liquidity because it's easier to move the price charts up. Similarly, if you want the price charts down, it's easier with thinner liquidity. So, I think that if it were me and I was trying to make those charts look nice, then I would, in times of lower liquidity where the ink token was doing less good, I would go ahead and I would pump it. I'd pump the other stuff. And then as price got to a place that I wanted, then I'd go and pump the ink token to incentivize people to come into the farms to thicken the liquidity to try to hold pricing in the ranges that I wanted to hold it in. Like, that's how I would play the game.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
That's how I would do it. Yeah. And I think we'll see more of that. I'm telling you, we talked about it. Corey brought it up on the stream a few weeks ago, but I think, if I were Greg the Duck, then, I think you've shown enough goodwill at this point. With the funds, I would obfuscate them today. Today. I'd be
Mhm.
done with this BS with these guys trading into me every time I went and did something across the bridge. I'd be
I would
done with it.
too.
I'd say, okay, guys, I've shown you enough goodwill. Now you've got to act more on faith and on the charts. What are you really here for? And that's how the game can really get more speculative. And that's where you can, in my opinion, you could limit some of the trading, some of the buying and selling that people are doing right now because it's easy. Like imagine, you have somebody broadcast their buy, people go sell into it. It's easy right now. I would change that.
Yeah, I would too, man. I don't like the whole narrative going around on Twitter of like Sack Daddy and like being like we need Richard Hart to pump the bags. Look, let the OA and Greg the Duck do whatever they want to do. It's their money. But like to sit there and track every single transaction, and I mean, yeah, if I was Greg, man, I would have already had, off ramp the money and gone through whatever I need to do to like maybe call some buddies up and be like, hey, man, can I
Well,
use your wallet addresses? What can
here's the
I
one
be calling you,
reason.
Dane. I'm going to be using your wallet. Don't, I'm going to send you some money and you're going to go ahead and
Well, here's the one reason you can't. So this is what I think's going on. And maybe I'm totally wrong, but I don't think I am. I mean, if you had a case against you, like Richard does, and you needed to, show good faith and hold face in a court of law, then what grounds would you want to go and argue that your thing is not a security and that you haven't duped any of the people that participated? Now, sure, you have all the legal jargon, all that type of stuff. We're not going to get into the whole, you sacrifice for freedom and for a political statement. The attorneys are going to have a heyday with that. So I like it. I think it's great. But like, if we look past that, well, what do you have to stand on? Well, if you can show, hey, investors that participate in the pre-sale are in profit or were in profit at some point after launch. That's really beneficial. If you could show that the sacrifice funds are being brought in to pump the price, to be able to provide liquidity, that those things doing things that are good for the ecosystem, well, all that is very positive. And man, if you could get that, once you can get the SEC off your back, well, that's the time to go and do some more cloak and dagger stuff. That's how I would play my hand. And frankly, I think that's kind of why you're seeing the things done that are being done. And I think that's why you're not seeing any obfuscation of those funds yet. So you need the SEC off your back before you go and do some of those activities.
I agree 100%. We all know. I mean, especially me and you, Dane, know when you're dealing with attorneys, they're going to tell you how to act, what to talk about, what not to talk about. Like they advise you every step of the way when you're going through a case or going through a situation. They literally tell you to jump and how high to jump. Like it's RH could be pushing the buttons a little bit or pushing the envelope a little bit, sure, but I guarantee he's listening to them. They're he's got 11 of them, and these guys are smart, and he's paying them a shit ton of money. Like
Right?
they're not cheap, man. These things, those guys aren't free, as you know, Dave.
No.
That stuff, and we have like in comparison to his attorneys, we had the pleb attorneys. Like if you were to compare, like, and I hated it, man. It was expensive. I lose sleep every night, and yeah, I can't imagine the level of his attorneys. Yeah, man. So I think you're hitting the nail on the head there because I really believe. For example, I really do that he didn't buy ETH not only because obviously maybe in the beginning he was waiting for a bottom and the bottom never happened. But by the time the SEC stuff came around, the attorneys probably told him in the beginning not to buy the ETH. That's what I think. And then eventually by the time the attorneys gave him the green light, well, freaking ETH was a $3,700 coin. It was very obvious ETH had bottomed when we were sitting at $2,000 a coin for like, I don't know, 9 months, 10 months. It was ridiculous. It was there. I mean, we hit that $900 and it kind of creeped up like to $2,000. Then when it hit $2,000, it plateaued, and it just sat there like throughout the whole bear market. It was crazy. It was very obvious there. And I think, by the time all that happened, I think we were well into the SEC stuff. I think when, obviously when the influencers were remember the investigation of like, it was supposed to be what do they called it? Like just, I don't know, where they were just finding out information about if influencers were being paid to be shilling what he had created, all and whatever it was called. But I think he knew then well that SEC was coming after him, and so he probably was already getting attorneys set up at that time. I would
Right.
imagine. You don't
Agreed.
wait to like the day before the court case to go hire your attorney. Just does
No,
not work.
and you also like the
That'll work.
attorneys, because imagine you're one of those attorneys and Richard's like, hey, here's what I'd like to do with the SAG funds. I'd like to go buy ETH, and they're like, we need to see how this stuff kind of shakes out before you do anything like that. And now that it's kind of shaken out, I mean, I would be willing to bet it's kind of a vote of confidence to be able to say, hey, like the SAC funds, whoever is in control of them feels comfy buying stuff with it and making moves and doing stuff. That's probably a vote of confidence saying that they're pretty confident that the case is heading in their direction so they can start doing things of that nature. And I'm with you. I think that's what happened.
100%. And if you think ETH's going to do well, now we are the biggest leverage play on ETH you can possibly imagine. Like, if you think ETH will do a 2, 3, 5x in this bull run, well, then hold on to your shorts because we're doing a 5, 10, 20, maybe a 50x. Who knows? Maybe in a crazy world where the case gets dismissed and ETH throws a 20 grand, we do 100x. I don't know. Wouldn't that be amazing? But we are a leverage play on ETH now. And so if ETH does well, we will do well. And I'm here for it. I'd rather buy Pulse than buy ETH because instead of making my 3x, let's go make a 5x or a 10x. Like, you're just a leverage play on ETH now. I mean, and the Ethereum, I think it will do well, especially if the ETH ETF gets approved. I would love to see that get approved like the end of this year. It's up for approval. Wasn't it like May or June, Dame? Something like
Yeah, I
that.
think it's pretty quick here. I think it might be next month.
But they could shoot that down. I mean, they shot the Bitcoin
Right.
ETF down. I remember last year it got shot down, I feel like 4 times before it finally got approved.
Right.
And so we could see something like that again. If it keeps getting shot down, I know we've mentioned this before, be careful. That ETH ETF approval, that could be what marks the top of the bull run. I don't know. So we got to keep that in mind. But leading up to it, if once the approval, like even Bitcoin, we saw it pumping all year last year leading up into that approval. So like, I would anticipate the same with Ethereum. We'll see how it goes though.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I agree. Those have been good, guys. I think oh man. Yeah. I hope that there's no refunds done in Hex. Can you imagine all the Hex being given back and the dump on? Oh gosh, don't do that.
Yeah, Fast Abdul. It's not like it's going to be 100% refunded in US dollars, right? Like there was a lot of other cryptos that were given. That would be that would be very interesting to see. I'm not for that type of event.
No, we don't want that.
Is anybody
Talk about Hex getting destroyed.
is anybody accumulating Zen for Vampire Jack? Let's look, Super Snake. I created a bunch of Zen FTs as part of my lottery bag, like literally in the end of 22 or the beginning of 23 when Jack was doing all that stuff. And then when those Zen FTs came out, like I was lucky enough that I got to catch some really good Gwei days when I created those because we were in the middle of a bear market. And so I have all those. I am not buying and accumulating Zen today. No, I am not. It's just not, I'll use those Zen FTs when that Zen's coming out and I've got a bag already. And you'll see what if the X1 chain does anything. I don't know. It's supposed to have the one thing I would say to watch is that it could pump because it has the narrative of an AI. Like he's talking about he's putting AI in his blockchain. It's gonna be the first blockchain with AI, even if it's bullshit. If he has it in the name somewhere, or if it's part of the narrative, Like, even if it's just like something stupid, like there's some kind of AI component, like being the AI is the narrative of this bull run, one of the narratives, it could pump because of that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I will take my gains and put it in the pulse. But I don't know. The guy keeps putting it like, I don't know. We can even see it. It might not come out to like 2025. Like he's gonna launch that thing. We'll be at the top of the bull run. I'd be like, bro, you're late. Like you just shot yourself in the
Well,
foot.
none
Like,
of his stuff he's made has been price positive. None of it.
no, I
I
know.
don't. I have a hard time thinking why X1 would be any different than any of his other creations that have been terrible.
Yep.
Unless you have the ability to mint for 99% cheaper than everybody else.
Yeah, it was price positive for Jack.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
It was price positive for Jack.
Seriously.
He figured a way how to crack the code on ETH gas fees and use everybody for exit liquidity. Dude, that guy, dude, that's so genius, though, when you think about it, like what he did. It's like, oh my God.
It's a beautiful space if you have no morals.
If you have no morals and you got a lot of
to
tech
make money.
knowledge, if you got a lot of tech knowledge and no morals, man, you can make a killing in the space. Yes.
Yep. It'll be, yeah. Yep. Cool, guys. So this has been fun today. We appreciate you tuning in. I'd like to jump off and go get some lunch here.
Let's do it, man. We should be here again tomorrow. So yeah, I think we're gonna be here all week. Yeah, my guy here is here for setting up. I'm getting Starlink installed on my house, so that way, hopefully, actually, my internet's been pretty good this week. Like I've been pretty stable, but that's because it knows that Starlink is coming and it got scared and it's trying to like, nah, don't get rid of me, don't get rid of me.
Seriously. Oh, so, cool, guys. We'll catch us tomorrow. As always, follow the YouTube shows. If you're here watching on Twitter, we're here to pump everybody's bags. So if you can come and give all the likes over on our 2 YouTube shows, that's incredibly helpful. And I'm telling you guys, now is not the time to be bearish, to fudge yourself out of your bags. In my opinion, just hang out. We've still got plenty of time. I think there's plenty of cool things in the works. It's going to be all right.
It'll be all right. That's it.
Yep. Cool, guys. Have a good one.
See you guys. Peace.